Hey, Corrina.
Hey, Amber, how's it going?
Pretty good. So, hello, everyone in LinkedIn world. Today we have Corrina Owens, super ABM genius from Gong. Am I allowed to say that? And she will be just answering pretty much all of your questions that you have. You can just leave them in the chat. So, Corrina, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here with you guys. My name is Corrina Owens. I run and support ABM for the enterprise segment at Gong. I have spent about the last 15 years in B2B, predominantly all around SaaS. Hey, Joe, thanks for joining. Yeah, and just happy to chat, answer any of your questions, all things marketing or anything Corrina.
Awesome. So, one thing we're doing today that's like super cool is a $250 gift card to Airbnb for
Yay!
some self-care vacation time. The rules are pretty simple. So let me just pop you up on screen. So there's one bingo card to rule them all. And essentially all that the watchers need to do is listen really closely. And every time you say one of these words, mark it down. And the first person who hears all of them will get bingo. So they'll put bingo in the chat. Number one rule is no cheating. Please, no cheating. This is mostly honor system, but I do have someone who's going to check up and make sure that no one's cheating. So let's get ready to go. I have a first question for you. I'm going to kick it off with just a spoken question. So, how did you end up in ABM?
Yeah, I love this question. I actually don't get it asked too often. I've been doing marketing, predominantly demand generation, and communications a bit. So my whole career. But I started to get into ABM really like during the 2020 when everything just digital selling like was on the rise and the need to be more efficient and more strategic with your spend blended well to an ABM strategy. So I started doing it a bit, really without calling it ABM, I would say, for a couple of years, and then more formally started to launch the strategy program foundations in 2020, where that was one of the main focuses for my job was leading demand generation ABM. So yeah, I mean, it's been ABM, I think, throughout most of my career without the name ABM, but happy to kind of tie it to this new and ever evolving strategy that is ABM. Awesome. Okay. So, and everyone, ask me any of your questions. We'll be watching for it. And hello to Ernest, Marianne. So happy to see you guys here. Lewis, Sam, Chelsea. Just want to give you guys a quick hello. So, my next question was how do you build resiliency as a marketer? Man, that is a tough question. I think that I heard somebody say this the other day that one of the best things that marketers can do is to actually start their marketing with a focus on public relations because you are going to get just rejected left and right. So I think with that frame in mind, I would say that if you can speak up often, share your crazy ideas, you're probably going to get rejected most of the time on budget or campaigns, but getting in the habit of practicing making those asks over and over and over again, that's for me at least what's built my resiliency. All right, we got a two-parter here from Jaron. How do you and the team at Gong define ABM? Great question. And two, can you describe the relationship between sales and marketing when targeting specific accounts? Great question. And I actually ask this in almost all of my interviews that I do. So if I'm interviewing somebody to join my team, or vice versa, if I'm interviewing somewhere, I ask them to define ABM because it's such a nebulous and so different for every company. So the way we define it is a strategy that we deploy to win best fit accounts to make sales easier. So that's making sales easier not just for someone to buy our solution, but also just making it easier for our account team to do sales. Secondly, can you describe the relationship between sales and marketing when targeting specific accounts? I think that the best ABM marketers, this is something I shared earlier in the week with the user gems takeover. Those are the ones that act as true stewards of the account data. So owning the data, really. So owning, what does that intent data mean? What does it mean when we're seeing surges in specific activity? Being able to answer that at a drop of a dime, I think, is really key. I think even further for that is really owning the pipeline with them. That, I think, makes the relationship and alignment really one team, and makes it so much easier to get things done together. What are some ways to align ABM strategy between marketing and sales? This is from Ryan. Yeah, I think super important that they're bought in from the beginning. I think often marketers get tasked with launching an ABM strategy and can end up doing it too much in a vacuum. You'll be much more beneficial if you're involved in conversations that aren't just ABM dependent. So, one of the things I always do is when we're looking to do account planning and account distribution, territory mapping, et cetera, for the following fiscal year, I'm in those meetings to be aware and also to provide data and input onto who I think would be the best fit accounts and why. So I think making sure that you're aligned on strategy before ever launching a tactic is going to be super critical. I also think that just erring on the side of over communication, meaning communicating your wins, but just as important, if not more so, your failures too, is really, really important to build that trust and credibility. And then finally, I think visibility, making sure that everybody is working off of the same dashboard, the same reporting, so that you guys can get closer and closer to that shared goal and hopefully one voice. So you guys are all communicating the same way. Okay, from Kenny. How can business development teams work alongside marketing to make ABM successful? Love that question. Um, my partnership with these teams is some of the most important partnerships I've had in my marketing career. Um, I think what's so important is to really make sure that these teams are enabled. So there's different things that we do here. I have an ABM office hours, which is really designed for any seller, frontline or inside sales, to drop in and ask any and all questions. We can map. We work through outbound strategy. We work through different data points, but we also host what we call GSD, so get shit done sessions. And that's where we have just dedicated time for these incredibly busy BDR, SDR teams to focus and align on a specific campaign that's designed to target a specific set of accounts. But I think the biggest piece is just making sure that they're enabled. So again, just holding space to enable them on upcoming content or data points, hosting workshops just to work through different dashboards, different strategy. Uh, there's no channel, I think, that you could overuse with these teams to make sure that your messaging is aligned with their outreach as well. Okay. Hey, Chelsea. Her question is, how do you maintain internal ABM adoption with all of the turnover happening at companies right now? Wow. What a question. Yeah, we are certainly not immune to seeing our target accounts experiencing these different pain points. And it's tough. I would say that this is really where we've leaned into really intentional personalization. And we've kind of really doubled down on what channels are most effective. And for us, it remains really engaging with the core believers and buyers of Gong. So tracking the job changes, right? That's a really big one when you see all these turnovers. We've been finding that our raving fans are traveling to different jobs 2 to 3 times a month, or sorry, not a month, a year. And that's been really crucial that we have things that are automated and in place to alert our team on when those job changes are occurring so that we can make sure that we're staying in front of what I like to call like the 80-20 rule, that we're staying in front of, the people that are most likely to be engaged and bought into our solution. And that's what we've been finding has been really helpful to keep our pipeline healthy and up to date. Hey, Trevor. In your opinion, is ABM a function of capturing demand or creating it? Yeah, I think it really, this is not going to be probably the answer you want, but it really depends on your go to market strategy, where you are as an organization, how healthy that is, if there's a product market fit, et cetera. So I think it depends. And I don't think that one is wrong or one is right. I just think it all depends on the health of your business, uh, the people you have on your team from a marketing perspective to support these things. I think ideally it's more the capture, but I definitely think that the creating it is certainly applicable and certainly understand them. A lot of organizations need to focus ABM from that perspective too. Hey, Marianne. What is my favorite innovative tactic that I've launched in the last year? You're you're killing me with innovative. I don't know how much of what I'm doing lately that is innovative. Um, but I do think that I was pleasantly surprised by some of the trackers that I have set up in Gong that are really designed to capture meaningful sentiment from our audience. And what we do a series called Gong on Gong, which is essentially where gongsters, is what we call ourselves, will show how we use our product. And I showed how we used it from an ABM perspective to really capture like what were the different aha moments in the demo that really like struck a chord with the team, or what did they do on the weekend that was a family moment that we can maybe honor to recapture. So really looking to drive meaningful moments and surprise and delight has been really, I think, just the biggest difference between building those relationships. Similarly, too, I helped to run a monthly meetup for women in revenue, and it's open to prospects, customers. It's run through our Gong community, but we have people that are non-Gongsters that help to run the meetings with us. And we had a key contact of ours at one of our target accounts speak at the event, and we were able to forge that because we were really intentional about reaching out to her about this opportunity because we knew speaking to women in revenue was a core passion of hers. And we just had that session and she just crushed it. And it was something that was very much aligned to her core beliefs and has allowed us to develop a meaningful relationship, long, long beyond a dotted line on paper. So I think anything that creates meaning and meaningful interactions is something that I've been passionate about. Okay. This is from Kenny. What are some of the best resources to explore ABM strategy farther? Oh, that's a great question. I get asked this a lot. Like, how do I get started with ABM? Where do I need to go? What are the different resources? And there definitely are vendors, like tech vendors, that do a really good job of offering some like non-biased resources. If you guys want, send me a message after this and I'll give you some coupon codes to one that Demand Base runs. It's a certification course for ABX, and it's thorough and it's actionable. It gives you templates and strategy from like inception all the way to like, how do I excel my ABM strategy? How do I scale that? So I definitely recommend things like that, and pretty impressed with how non-biased they were. But I also just get a lot of inspiration from listening to different marketing leaders on podcasts, things that have worked well for them, getting their perspective. So I try and just have like an always on mentality to want to learn. So I'm listening to so many podcasts. Demand Gen Visionaries does a really great job. Demand Gen Chat does a great job. There's so many out there that I could recommend you guys to, but I just kind of try to listen and always stay on and have a pulse for what's working for others.
I'm just going to do a check-in. How's it going, Corrina?
Good. Thanks for checking in. Yeah.
We're halfway through, so we've got 15 minutes left. You're like really crushing it.
Yay. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. This is from Sam. How have you best found a way to sprinkle a little love into your marketing? Yeah, I think that I'm always trying to find meaning in my work. And some of the way that I find my work to be most meaningful is to lift others up. And I think I can see that like twofold. So one is I'm always looking to help others in their go-to-market approach. So thinking of different creative ways to create moments at the accounts that maybe our sellers aren't thinking about as closely because they have so much more to worry about. But also, too, I'm always looking to lift up our audience. I think it's rare that companies have a mentality to think about recognizing the work of their talent, and that's an opportunity for vendors to do that. Terminus does a really great job with their advocacy program to tell the stories of their customers and to highlight and spotlight their success. It isn't always through the lens of like, what is the ROI? But there's just different elements that they pull out. We try and do that with our Reveal podcast. We try and highlight in different ways these leaders are making a difference in their organization. So I think that I'm trying to sprinkle in love by putting a spotlight on people by nominating them for events or podcasts, or even just writing up a short snippet on their blog. It's my dog Alani. Yeah, so that's how I would answer that question. Hey Trinity, you mentioned aerial silk as a hobby. What got you into doing aerial silk? Is there an analogy between aerial silks and ABM? Yeah, so aerial silks, for those that may be less familiar, if you've ever been to Cirque du Soleil, they're the two ribbons that you can see hanging from the ceiling. They look like ribbons. I started that in 2013, so you guys can do the math there. Been doing it for a little while. I also instruct in my spare time, and even less so, but used to perform a little bit more in my spare time as well. What I really love about it is it's really my form of meditation. It's the only activity that I've found in my life so far that gets this brain to quiet for a little bit and just really center in, because when I'm up, 30 feet in the air, if I do one wrong wrap or if I'm not fully engaged in a position, I could come crashing to the ground. So it's super critical that I remain in the moment and in tune with my body. And that's why I'm still so passionate about it to this day. I think the way I would tie it to ABM is there's not one way of doing things. And I think with ABM in particular, with how it looks at one organization, it's going to look completely different at another, because the purpose of it is to be really hyper focused and personalized to a set of different accounts. And how that looks for each account should by nature look very different. With aerial silks, it's similar in the sense that I will be taught a standard move, but it's up to me to make that move my own. So I have that opportunity to add my own flair, my own style, even if I'm going about the same pathways. The same way I get there can look a little bit different than somebody next to me performing that same move. So that's the analogy I would apply with aerial silks and ABM. Okay, Colin, how's it going? What's your one piece of advice for starting an ABM program aside from sales and marketing cohesion? Yes. I would say, I think too often people wait too long to start their program. So they wait till they have, I don't know, 10 content resources aligned up and ready to go, 3 different channels that can support it. And sometimes it can be as simple as one piece of content that you already have that's existing and one channel to see it and start testing. I think that it can be a detriment to wait too long, because these programs can take a really, really long time. So I would say start small, 1 to 2 channels, 1 to 2 pieces of content, and just test your messaging and your approach to see what really sticks and what lands. And you'll often find that you don't even have to have a ton of technology to do that. I mean, it could be running a LinkedIn ad with a new ebook, right? So start small and start testing early is what I would recommend. Okay, Isaac, what things have you automated that have been a game changer for your team? Well, it's very true. We have automated our intent data with user gems for job changes to automatically add people to a specific outreach sequence. And that automation has enabled our team to be quick to act on these changes when it's most relevant. And that automation gets in the hands of not only them quicker, but also our raving fans that have recently moved jobs. And what I love about it too is that this play is designed to congratulate and just shower them. So showering them with kudos and personalized gifts, and resources that we think are going to be most successful in their first 90 days to get up and running with the new job. So it's been one of the favorite new shiny intent data signals for sales to start acting on. So that's one of the ones that I think the team would also echo, is that they're super happy about. Okay. Hey, Nicholas. How do you sanity check the relevance of P2P value add offerings? For example, spend an hour with our subject matter expert talking about X. Oh, yeah, that's I think that I would listen to the sentiment or the voice of the customer on those calls. So obviously here at Gong, we record our customer facing interactions, and that's where we really seek to validate our messaging. Did something land? Oftentimes too, we can even A/B test not just the words we're saying, but also the visual. So we have something in our product that allows you to see if one slide and visual was more successful at helping move to the next stage in the funnel quicker than another. So I'm a fangirl of Gong even before I came to Gong. So it's true. The validating those customer interactions just can't be overstated enough. Okay, Faith, how do you apply gifting into an ABM program? Yeah. So for us here at Gong, it's less of a mass gifting approach and more of a personalized approach. So we enable our sellers. Of course, me and the marketers are enabled to do so as well. But again, we try and find those meaningful moments to shower our audience. So like even just tracking a simple word that was said on a call, like congrats, that's one of our more frequently said words. We make sure that we're tracking that our seller or whoever was the leader of the call, that they said it to our key audience, our prospect or our customer. And we'll just click in that call and we will get to hear real quickly, like, okay, maybe they just got married, or maybe their niece or nephew was just born. Maybe they just closed a really successful quarter. So many different things you could send with that, right? Like maybe you could send a personalized baby gift, or maybe you could send a bottle of champagne for them to cheers to their successful quarter. So it's things like that where we're looking for, really meaningful sentiments, and then following up with a personalized gift in a more one-to-one approach. Okay. Hey, David. Congrats to you, man. He said, as an ABM leader, what are some creative ABM tactics or campaigns that you've been personally targeted with that have stood out to you, made you take an action? Yeah, I don't get enough personalized outreach. I get spammed like crazy. But as much as I engage on LinkedIn, you would think that I get more personal touch points. But I don't really. I think the most personalized I have gotten was like a Lululemon gift card, because they did catch wind that I was an aerial silks artist. So that was a perfect tie-in. And I did take a cold call from that because of the personalized approach. I've also been sent by Reach Desk. They did a really great job of targeting me in my love and affinity for The Office. Anybody that knows me even a little bit knows that I've seen The Office hundreds of times and can recite almost any episode. So they were very clever too with their personalized gifting with me around The Office too. But I feel like it could happen so much more than it does. And I think that just goes to show like how easy it is for some people to stand out in the market today, because so few people still are taking that opportunity to be intentional about their personalization.
I'm just jumping in because we have 5 minutes left. So I'm kind of going to keep doing rapid fire questions for you. And then when we have 1 minute left or so, I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. Okay, do you have a number one absolute favorite ABM playbook? Yeah, I think something that I've always really enjoyed doing is making fun of moments that would otherwise potentially be dull or mundane. So, take for instance, like a pilot or a proof of concept. I've looked for ways to gamify that for the users because I think that no matter what you're selling, like if you're talking about any kind of software, you just cannot assume that your your tool is intuitive for just the average user. So I always look for ways to gamify proof of concepts for pilots. And that can often look like, ooh, cool, I see some bingos. That's exciting. That can often look like, saying, hey, if you, for Gong, for instance, if you tag your manager in X many calls, you'll get into a pool for a prize of maybe it's like a thought leadership play, like gifting to the Revenue Collective. So different things like that. So I'm always looking to make moments that would otherwise be dull and make them fun and human. Because I think at the end of the day, when they're sitting around the proverbial table and talking about what solution should we go with, I think those are the ones that are going to stand out, excuse her, a bit more than others. Okay. Hi, Christina. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? How do you get past that? Yes, of course. Probably more often than not. But I think that one of the things that has been most successful for me in my career is, let's just take the thought of posting something on LinkedIn, right? That is an intimidating thing to make a statement and offer your POV and have the world criticize and judge you. Um, the way I've gotten over situations like that or things like imposter syndrome is I've stopped and I've reflected and I've taken stock of my entire life. And I have had so many trials in my life that don't compare even a fraction to the trials that I've faced in the workplace or online. And I instantly remember who I am. And that confidence just shatters all the negative chatter in my brain about, am I good enough? Do I deserve to be here? So I think that anytime you feel that way, just take stock of your entire life. You're a complex person with diverse experiences, and you know who you are, and you know your intentions, and you know what you're capable of deep down. So when you feel that way, just take stock and zoom out. And I find that that's been really helpful for me to overcome those feelings. Okay, probably our last question here, Amber, unless I'm wrong.
Nope, you're right.
Cool. Okay. So this is from Justin. How much and what parts of your ABM creation is delegated to other teams within marketing? If, for example, how do you enlist content, product marketing, demand gen teams, et cetera? Yeah, great question. I think that ABM marketers are some of the best marketers to break down silos, even inside the marketing organization. Um, we are so aligned with the sales motion and the sales team that we're sometimes the best partners to somebody like the content team. We can quickly get that feedback for you on what's resonating, what's not, what do they want to see more of, like what are the themes that are coming most often in deals. Um, so I feel like that's an underlooked aspect. I try and always show to my different marketing counterparts that we're really here to help you excel too. So we're here to highlight your upcoming events. We're here to highlight your content because we're typically most effective at getting it distributed and consumed by the field. I think too with like customer marketing, I'm often bringing customer marketers a very warm relationship because I, as an ABM marketer, have been so involved with these accounts long before they became a customer in net new situations. So I'm introducing them to a warm testimonial and a warm case study. So I think that there's so much to be said for how ABM can partner and lift up other marketers and organizations. Oh, I can't hear you. I don't know if that's just me though.
Good. I did
There
this
you
last time. So we do have a bingo winner.
are.
Um, it's Samantha Hedges.
Woo, woo.
I had to manufacture the question a little because you kept saying play instead of playbook,
Oh,
but
sorry. Sorry.
no, it's totally fine. So you did an amazing job. Like this was great. Thank you for giving us your knowledge and 30 minutes out of your day. This was wonderful. Do you have any like parting words or something that's coming up that you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm always here to chat. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am always looking to collaborate with others and learn from others and maybe share some things too back with you guys. So hang in there. I know times are tough right now. I think one thing that is a cheesy thing to say, but it's so true. We're in marketing, so we're PR, not ER. So just remember that too when people are breathing down your neck, and just know that you've got a community of people that are here to support you. So thank you, User Gems. Thank you, Amber. I've loved being here with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye.